Costs are going up right now across everything, and we're all freaking out. Trust me, I am too. And we're all looking for places to cut back, right? Electricity's going up, costs of groceries are going up, payroll taxes and fees and whatever, everything, credit card fees, everything is getting more expensive. And so I want to talk today about the cost of inaction, because this is the most expensive cost and the most preventable cost in your team and in your business. And so what I see happen all the time is we say, well, what can we cut from? Well, we can't cut from this budget because of this, because of this. Let's cut from supporting the team. Let's cut back on some of the things that ways we're investing in the team, getting training and support or coaching or materials, whatever, because, hey, people can figure stuff out on their own. They can just use AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, you name your favorite robot. And we don't invest in our team. We say like they should be able to figure it out. Or we know it's really a problem, but we kick the can down the road. We say, well, people don't have time. We can't possibly stop what we're doing and train people. Like they have deadlines to hit. They have products to launch. Or we say, well, my team's not quite ready. They're not upskilled enough. Or we say, I don't want to invest in low performers. I don't want to invest in people that I think aren't doing a good job. And these are the excuses I hear every single day when it comes to investing in our team. But the truth is, by kicking the can down the road, we are making an already expensive problem even more expensive. And there is nothing, I want you to really internalize this, there is nothing more expensive than doing nothing, because these problems just get bigger. Every single, like your cost of employees overhead, that's your biggest expense. So if you have folks that aren't delivering, if you have folks that are not meeting the standards, if you have folks that aren't clear on what their job is, that is going to cost you money every single hour of the day. How are we missing that point? And it can seem like, well, I can't invest this amount right now. We can't stop for a second. But folks that can't delegate, right, or are working on the wrong things, or two people working on the same thing at the same time when you're getting like one job for the price of two, how could that be more expensive than to sort that out? And so I want to talk today about the cost of inaction, because this is the most expensive cost and the most preventable cost in your team and in your business. I'm Lia Garvin, and this is the new Manager Playbook, where I share tips, tools, stories, and strategies to make managing your team the easiest part of your job. And I will tell you, it can feel hard to figure out what strategy you need. But once you get the right support, everything gets easier. And I gotta say, like, there's a cost savings associated with that, to not feeling that stress anymore. And that's why I'm so excited to talk to you about to kind of paint the picture around the cost of inaction so we can get ahead of it. Because what we're not realizing is all those inefficiencies, those really add up. I read some stats today that I wanted to kind of just jump through for you, right? 4 to 5 hours a week is spent on managers resolving conflicts, misunderstandings on teams that are operating ineffectively. And that's probably a low estimate, because I've been on some ineffective teams, and it's kind of like more like 10 hours a week is spent on meeting a second time because something wasn't clear. 2 people are working on the same thing, so you got to go and look at, okay, who's doing what, and figure that out. I would say I've observed working firsthand in companies and teams that think ineffective managers, or when we're a manager, we just don't really trust our team yet or know how to let go and feel like we're kind of being pulled in. We might be spending 10, 20 hours a week in the same meetings our teams are in, because we know that they're not going to like hit it right when they have to share an update, or we're worried they're going to say the wrong thing, or we don't think they're going to communicate the pass down to us. So we're spending maybe 15 to 20 hours in things that we don't have to be doing as managers. And that doesn't even count the hours our team members are spending on the wrong things. They also say that companies with inefficient team dynamics, they have customer service complaints go up by 40%. Customers aren't happy. So how is that affecting product sales, launches, right? Services when you have dissatisfied customers? That's going to cost you a lot. And then I've said it before that it costs between 50% and 200% that person's salary when someone leaves. So that's the cost of turnover. So if you have an employee that was making $100,000 and they leave, now you got to spend $50,000 to $200,000 in replacing that person. And that comes in terms of like the lost productivity, other teams having to get involved in job descriptions and interviews and onboarding, your time and all of that. So think about it. All these things that show up when your team's inefficient, when the team's ineffective, when you as a manager can't be doing your best, when your own managers aren't doing well in your organization, this is so expensive. It adds up so much. And I think it can feel like we can kick it down the road because these costs seem abstract, right? Hours spent in meetings, maybe we're not adding it up. But for the small business owner, especially listening, this stuff adds up like literally immediately and it's coming out of your pocket. And for the corporate manager and corporate leader listening to this kind of thing adds up in, I would say, especially especially in that turnover point, which also ends up being the most expensive because high performers don't want to be on low performing teams. Like, no, thank you. Okay. And they're going to be the first ones to walk. I want to share 2 examples of where I saw this show up with a small business owner. Last year, a business owner that ran a marketing agency, she came to me, it had some kind of like coaching programs and things like that. She came to me and said in about, I think it was April. Yeah, April. She said, my ops person, she's really not good. She has a bad attitude and I really don't feel like she's effective. And I said, okay, well, like, what can we do about that? Like, and I talked about some ideas for coaching her and some things that this business owner could be doing and investing in. She said, well, but this person, I don't think I want to keep her. I don't want to invest any money in this. Like, that seems like a big waste. So she did nothing. And we talked about a couple options and she was not ready to invest in that team member. 6 months later, in April, I hear from her again. And I said, hey, whatever happened with the ops manager? What did you guys figure out? And she said, oh my God, this last 6 months, it's been a living nightmare. She was responsible for 2 team members leaving because they just couldn't stand working with her. Some of our launches that we were doing in our big campaigns, she really mishandled it. We weren't tracking the right things. So we lost a big client because of it. And we really frustrated a lot more people beyond that. I said, gosh, like, how much do you think that costs you? She's like, oh, I don't know. At least a couple $100,000. The cost of not training this ops person before, even when she didn't want to keep this person because they weren't very good, it cost her a couple $100,000. I want you to think about that. There are ways to train and help a low performer get better, even if that's not the person you're going to keep, because the cost of doing nothing, now you are in the hole, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you're not ready to let someone go that day, if they're not the right person, or you're not able to, right? Or you haven't given them feedback so they can improve. If you're not doing those things, then that is the cost at the other side of it. And it is way more than investing in any training, any coaching, any book, any resource, anything. It's going to cost you so much more. The cost of an action. There's nothing more than that. I think the second example I wanted to share was, in the corporate world, right? I said it can be more abstract how people are costing you. But I was on a team years ago where there was one team member, it was a design team, the creative director, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. He was not giving feedback productively. He was really critical of people, really mean. And it ended up costing, I think when I was on the team, I was one of 11 people who left that team because he was so hostile to work with. Now on that team, this creative director was never given feedback. He was never told that he couldn't operate this way. We never had conversations about how to work through that. 11 people left the team. The product that we worked on, it never shipped. Folks distributed across the team that never saw the light of day. And think about that from a corporate perspective, a 12, 14-person team. How much money had been invested in building this product and shipping it and getting all the marketing resources involved, engineering, only to have a product not shipped because there was no team to build it. That's the cost. And that's millions and millions of dollars because of a lack of feedback that manager had been giving that person. So the cost of an action, it feels like it's nothing. It feels like we'll kick it down the road. It feels like we'll deal with it later. But it is the most expensive thing that shows up on your teams and in your companies. And so what do we do about it? We invest. We figure out what is the actual issue with the ops person and with this creative director. They needed some hard feedback that they weren't performing. With other team members, they need more clarity on their role. They need to figure out, we need to really communicate their priorities and what they should be working on. With other folks, maybe they need to be delegating. We've got to figure out what the issue is, because when we see something that's not quite working on our team, we think, I don't have time and energy to worry about this. All we're doing is creating a bigger problem later. And it's not even that much later. It's probably like weeks and months later. It's not years later. So you're still going to have to deal with it on the other end. So I just want to empower you with this information, not scare you. It's like, gosh, you have the opportunity right now to figure this stuff out so it doesn't haunt you down the line. It's like that saying, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, or 10 years ago, excuse me. The best time to plant is today. Plant your tree today. Fix your team. Get support. Because this stuff, it doesn't go away. It doesn't get easier if you don't deal with it. But it can be easier if you start today. And that's why I wrote the New Manager Playbook, was to give you a tool today that you can use and start fine-tuning. Okay, diagnosing those issues. What are the strategies? Get the book for your team members if you're managing managers. Give them something. Don't kick the can down the road. Even if you feel like, they're not the team members I want to have forever. Support them now. Fill that gap so that when you have the right folks, you can keep them. All right? Check out the New Manager Playbook, liagarvin.com/new manager playbook. This is going to give you a tool to give to your team members, your managers, on how to figure all this stuff out, because you cannot afford to do nothing. I'm telling you, there's nothing more expensive than inaction, and it's not that hard to solve it. We just got to start. See you next time.